If you thought the extravagant nature of Season 13 of the Prospector Podcast was ending with having President Heather Wilson on, then I'm sorry to say, but you believed a myth. Because today, we're speaking to author Darrell Barry over his book Early This Morning, a novel in which was originally released in 2009, but recently published again in 2025. Darrell Barry, who graduated from UTEP in 1977, flies all the way from San Antonio, Texas, to speak with the Prospector over his new novel. And after speaking to author Barry, we're gonna try out some new drinks, specifically Boba Tea, as Justin Chang from Fuba Tea joins the Prospector Podcast over the origins of Fuba Tea, in which Justin and his wife Ileana started in El Paso, Texas, providing college students with a healthy alternative and a taste of Taiwanese culture. Episode 2 of Season 13 of the Prospector Podcast isn't stopping anytime soon. Welcome back to the Prospector Podcast, Season 13, Episode Número 2. We are glad to be back with you. And before we address anything at all, including our very special guest, there's one housekeeping item that we need to take care of, Mia, because this concerns you. Okay. The logo that we have finally migrated it to the UGLC. That is made by Mia Colmenero.
I hope you guys like it.
Our new layout editor, her first year at UTEP. Very opposite side of the spectrum, our very special guest. First, before I introduce you, Mr. Barry, Kristian Hernandez back again co-hosting. Kristian, welcome back to episode 2.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be here.
I didn't force him to say that. And someone else who I hope is really happy to be here is Mr. Darrell Barry. Mr. Darrell Barry is a UTEP alumni, graduated from the university in 1977, and has flown out all the way from San Antonio to visit the Prospector Podcast. Mr. Barry, it is a pleasure to have you on.
I am honored. Thank you very much.
Mr. Darrell Barry recently released a book called Early This Morning. We have 2 copies on our desk right now. Mr. Barry, I don't know if you want to hop on the twin trend real quick. So, for context, Darrell Barry is retired from the Army, having served in both the enlisted and officer ranks. He has a bachelor's degree in psychology and a master's in human resources, as well as a postgraduate diploma in strategic intelligence from the Defense Intelligence College. He served in the Army during the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy era regarding gay service members, which lasted from 1994 to 2011. Now living in San Antonio, and one of my favorite facts about you is that you have 2 rescue dogs.
Yes, I do.
Thank you, Mr. Barry, once again for coming on with us. What is something that you'd like to tell our audience before we get into the conversation today?
One request, call me Darrell.
Definitely. Thank you, Darrell.
I'm 75 years old, but go ahead and call me Darrell.
Thank you, Darrell. We appreciate it. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm retired now, so I sit around and read and write and play with my dogs and do genealogy work and actually working on another novel.
So you tease that in your website. We'll get into that a little later to see maybe if we could get a sneak peek. But the first question is this. After serving in the Army and graduating with a bachelor's in psychology and now being retired, you released this novel originally in 2009.
Yes.
That was an independent release, correct?
Yes.
Now that we go into 2025, we see this novel Early This Morning surface again, this time published by Atmosphere. Right. So the first thing I want to ask is, what made you want to become an author and go into writing books?
I'm an avid reader, and I wanted to write a little bit about, and I love novels, and I love mystery. But I kind of wanted to put 2 things together, being in the military, the Don't Ask, Don't Tell period, and biological warfare, because that's something that I worked in. So I thought, well, I can kind of combine this and maybe come up with an exciting page-turner.
Okay. So I was wondering about your MOS. You talk about biological technology. Mm-hmm. So how did you input that with your degree?
Okay. First of all, let me say something right off the top, because I did work in a top secret area.
Okay.
So the book, although it deals with biological warfare, which is in that arena, everything in here is open source. Okay. It's fiction. But I do need to say that. Because I could get in trouble if I did.
Yeah. So did you have to do any sort of revisions to the book at all when you were publishing it at all? Or do you think, like from 2009 and then going from 2025, what revisions have you made to the book, if any?
Very few, very, very few. And it was just editing. that Atmosphere Press did, just editing.
Okay.
And the whole reason this book had been on the shelf since I first wrote it, but I was encouraged because of the current political situation, and I don't really want to get into politics, but anyway, I was encouraged to have someone publish it because of the issue with gays in the military, really. So that's what prompted this book.
Okay. I see what you mean.
So before we continue, it's important to learn what this book is about. Essentially, a group of the military, all of which share one trait in common, and that is their sexuality, are sent out on a mission, a very dangerous one that, and I don't think this is spoiling this, and that's intended to kill them. So why re-release this book going into 2025, especially with that message that seems to be vocal going all the way back to 2009?
It's easier to write it now because Don't Ask, Don't Tell is over with. It's okay to be gay and in the military. So that lapse of time sort of made it easier to write about, back in the day. And you're right in that, there's two things about the book. It was not just to kill them, because the mission to find these biological agents was very legitimate. But they were having a problem because it was so dangerous that the people would probably die that they sent on the mission. Therefore, they thought, well, what can we do? Let's just spy on a bunch of gays, or who we think are gays, train them up and send them over. If they find the biological weapons, wonderful, that's a feather in our cap. If they die finding them, who cares? No loss to us.
Okay, so let's go through the publishing process. Walk us through that.
Well, for Atmosphere Press, or when I self-published, was that was just I knew nothing about it, and so I would just read books about how to self-publish. It was interesting, but Atmosphere Press was great because I handed over to them, and they come back with ideas and do a wonderful editing job, and so that was easy.
Yes.
So where did you go when learning how to write thrillers? Because this has been a process that has been taking over a decade. How did you start learning how to write? Does that come from your college experience, or are those memories attached to the Army in any way?
I read them. How I learned to write thrillers? I read them. I read thrillers.
Which books are the ones that inspired this one?
Oh my gosh. I never thought about that just one particular book. Because I enjoyed everything from the old Dorothy Gillum Ms. Polifax, to the current Stephen Barry, no relation to me, books. I don't have one in particular.
So, and how long was that process in crafting this book? Because it came out in 2009, but how many years were there behind the scenes in order to get this published, at least independently?
Yes. It was a long time because I was still in the Army at the time, really, and so I would write, I would put it away, I would think this is silly, and I would write, put it away, and then the more I got to writing, and I started liking the characters, the more I wrote, and finally, after quite a while of putting it on the shelf, bringing it out, putting it on the shelf, bringing it out, I decided, you know what, I need to do this, and then I sat down, and within 3 months, it was done. As far as writing it. Of course, it wasn't really done because I had to do a lot of editing and whatnot.
I have a confession to make to everyone here, okay? And this is serious. I'm actually serious about this.
Okay.
I'm actually myself writing my own book as well.
Oh, wonderful.
I've been starting since fall of 2023, like a bit of a sci-fi kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Great.
And I'm just wondering about your question about developing characters.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how does that process go? Because I've been thinking about, I have the plot line, I have how things are going to go, I have how these characters are, or what are their motivations. So what was that like for you, writing back and forth, and then developing those characters?
Developing characters. All the characters, how can I say this? There was not a particular character that I wrote about, but all of the characters are compilations of people that I knew in the military to some degree, whether it's a fleeting just conversation or whether I knew them well, but it's all someone that I knew, or a bunch of someones that I knew. together. Yeah.
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 Do they
I
know about like?
No.
No, they don't know at all that you're like. There's no basis off of them at all or anything like that.
No, I didn't want to do that at all. I didn't. That was. I just didn't want to deal with that.
Okay.
So no one. Now there have been people that have called me up and said, "Am I?" You know, whoever, Joe, Sergeant Joe or whatever. That no, you're not. Unfortunately, you're not. But people do ask. You know, was that me? Or they ask. They said, "I know that one guy in the book, Trent. That's got to be you." No, not me either.
No, I don't know. And how is that like a immersion with the military? How was that for you? Like, can you give me like the whole culture vibe? Anything around 2009 or during your whole time serving the military? What was the culture like, and how did that influence the book?
Well, a lot. When I first came in the military, gays weren't allowed in the military, and so everybody lied about being gay. Then Don't Ask, Don't Tell. No one could ask you if you were gay, and you couldn't tell anybody that you were. Although there were a lot of people kicked out of the military for being gay because they were found out about who knows how, and then of course now to present day. But yeah, there's one of the first scenes or one of the first chapters in the book has to do with some military police that want to go into a gay bar and check and see if there's any soldiers there, and that definitely that happened to me before. I mean, personal experience. I was in one time in a bar, and someone came up to me. Excuse me. They didn't even know me well, and just leaned over to me and said, "They're here." That's all. Said, "They're here." Yeah. Well, I knew what that meant. Mm-hmm. So it meant there were some military police.
Yeah. It's almost like treating it like a speakeasy. Almost.
Oh,
It sounds
definitely.
Like that, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. There was a lot of, coming up to someone and sort of nudging them and said, "Better watch out tonight," or all this kind of stuff. So, yeah, that part was absolutely, and it's in the book, too.
Before we get into the effects of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, I think it's important to distinguish one thing, and that is compared to the 2009 to the 2025 release date, the title stayed the same, it being Early This Morning. What's one of the reasons of why you were able to keep the original title despite publishing with a different company when so many other authors have problem getting the titles on the books that they want?
Yes, it wasn't an issue. When I went to Atmosphere, I mean, I told them that I wanted the same title, and they just said, "Let's go with it." Now, a lot of people ask me, "Early This Morning, what does it mean?" There's a Jody that in the Army that goes early this morning about 3:45, and then that's what the sergeant says. The people that are marching say, "Early this morning about 3:45," and it goes on and on and on. So that's what it is as far as the title. That's what it originally started being. Now then, people that have read the book have come back to me and said, "Oh, I know what the title really is. It's because of what happened at the end of the book," which I don't know if I really want to go into the end of the book, but the last chapter in the book could have easily been the reason the title is Early This Morning.
No spoilers from us so far.
Yeah.
So circling back to the Don't Ask, Don't Tell situation, since it was repealed December of 2010 or 2011, how do you think this still affects the LGBTQ community today?
From a military justice standpoint, they can't be kicked out, so it's huge. Huge, because I mean, they would just kick them out, and they would be dishonorably discharged or something other than honorable. Yes. A little correction there. That happened with Don't Ask, Don't Tell, but I think later on they were brought back and given an honorable discharge. But nonetheless, so it's big there. Now, as far as being gay and being in the military, I think some people are out and some people aren't. Yes. But at least since it's legal, it's a big difference. Big difference. Yeah.
And do you think there's a possibility this might be happening current times, the Don't Ask, Don't Tell?
That's the question. Mm-hmm. I've been on a lot of podcasts, and everybody, and rightfully so, comes around to asking that question. And my answer to that is that yes, there's a possibility that something like this, or at least along these lines, maybe not quite this drastic, could happen. Because we see now, an effort to try to get women out of combat roles. And there's a lot of excellent women in combat roles, especially in the Air Force, fighter pilots and whatnot. So you all already see some encroachment there. So, I think it's too far-fetched. But again, this is a fiction novel. Just need to say that again.
So my question to you is, do you think it's always going to be a constant battle with anyone's sexuality in the military at all?
That's a good question, because after saying all that about the military, sometimes the military is the entity that steps up. And socially, like for instance, when we were segregated here in the United States, the military was one of the first ones that integrated. When we were, women were very limited on the roles that they could have in jobs, the military was the one that brought them in. So I'm not by any way bashing the military, because they've really put a step forward with a lot of social issues. And then, of course, finally they got away with Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and now, gay folks can be in the military. But so I think it's going to be an issue only so much as it is with the regular public. The military is a cross-section of society.
This book does focus on a myriad of social issues. So what would you say to those who may be hesitant to pick up this book, read it, or think about any of the ideologies that it brings up if they have differentiating viewpoints? And at all, do you think that this novel could possibly unite certain communities despite differences in thinking about societal problems that are worth addressing?
That's a very, very good question. I have given this book to a lot of people that I knew in the military, and overwhelmingly, it's been a positive reaction. However, there have been some people that have never spoken to me after that. So I don't know. That's the only experience I have. Most people really like it, and they thought it was a mystery novel and whatnot, and yes, but a couple people, that's it. Nope.
Yet that hasn't stopped you from wanting to write again. As you've previewed and alluded to your website, right. A second novel is coming on the way. What can we expect from that?
It's a mystery again. But it's going to be about a Lyft driver and various characters that he meets. But I haven't really got it all worked out yet, because, like with this book, I had the idea of what it was going to deal with, the subject matter. And then all the characters came to play and, developed the book. My second book, it's kind of like I've got the characters and don't have exactly how I'm going to, work with all them. But I've started doing a little bit of Lyft driving just to gather characters, and believe me, I've got some good ones.
living the life like an actor does, exactly.
Yeah.
So before we go off, I think the biggest pressing question that students are wondering is, what was UTEP like in the 1970s?
I loved it. I loved UTEP. I had a great time when I was here. I got a wonderful education. The professors, it was just great. I enjoyed the experience.
Darrell, thank you so much for your time. Before we end off, where can we find Early This Morning? Where can customers shop for it so that they can get their hands on it?
Amazon. That's where it is. Just go to Amazon, and it's real easy. Click on Amazon, and they'll ship you either a hard copy, soft copy, it's Kindle, and I don't have yet a audio, but that's going to be coming out probably next year.
An audio has been teased. You should check it out. Pick up your copy of Early This Morning using Amazon, a novel by Darrell Barry. Darrell, thank you so much for your time. We'll be back on the Prospector Podcast, Season 13. Welcome back to the Prospector Podcast, Season 13, Episode 2. I think this is one of the most aesthetic segments that we can have, especially for a main event segment. That is why we have Kristian Hernandez back co-hosting again, as well as Vivien Noé. I remembered how to pronounce your name.
Great, that's amazing.
Now, in segment numero uno, we revealed the new logo. And now you could see spread throughout our table a lot of Fuba Tea, Boba Tea. The names are interchangeable. That's because Fuba Tea is joining us for our main segment of Season 13, Episode 2. Mr. Justin Chang, thank you so much for taking the time to visit us.
Thank you for having me.
So, Fuba Tea is a local boba place in El Paso, Texas. And I think the first thing that we want to ask is, why is the shop called Fuba Tea?
So Fuba Tea is called Fuba Tea. It stands for the two characters that has Fu, which is a Chinese character for good fortune, and Ba, which is the number 8 in Chinese as well. And that's just the lucky number.
And how did you guys start off selling boba in El Paso with those culture?
So my wife and I met. She's Ileana. She actually is also a UTEP alumni. And we met in Taiwan many years ago. And then back then over there, the culture is, well, I'm thirsty. I'm going to get like a nice tea to drink. A lot of new tea mixes have come up with like fruits or bobas and obviously that kind of stuff. And then later on, coming back to the U.S., it's like, oh, we're kind of missing this flavor that we always had back in Taiwan. So I was like, well, why not we start our own shop for it?
So building a Fuba place here, what was that challenge like? What was like opening and everything and making it a for sure fire thing to do it in El Paso?
For sure fire thing, well, she is from El Paso, grew up here and all that. And we figured it was a good idea to bring this to her hometown, introduce nice, healthy tea drinks that, everybody can enjoy. We brew everything from the fresh tea leaves, so it's all very natural and fresh. Nothing that we do, everything that we do is also the sweetness is adjustable. And I think the main thing has been trying to source all these tea leaves that we import from Taiwan and getting them shipped over here so that we can brew.
So preparing for the opening day coming up, what was it like going to buy the building to getting all the logistics done? How was that process like?
So it was a lot of preparation. Most of the prep work was probably learning, kind of figure out how to cook everything. We spent as well more time as well going back to Taiwan to visit the tea fields, the tea suppliers and all that, and getting all that basically imported here. And then over here we're looking for locations. Obviously there's key spots that we kind of want to target, where most people who drink boba are obviously young adults. We have college kids and all that. And so once we found the location, just basically getting on it quick with the landlords and all that, and getting the rental place signed in, and then it's just on the way to go, getting everything built out and set up.
That's so cool. And I imagine in this process bringing Fuba Tea to here, El Paso, it was a very different culture. How were you guys received by the college students? How was that process introducing Fuba Tea to El Paso?
It's actually pretty interesting. I think it seems like bubble tea has already been pretty well known in most of the U.S. and everywhere else. That part is just getting people to just try it out. Getting people to come in, taste the drink. Once people taste real fresh, good tea, it's just it's really good.
Yeah.
A lot of people are in love with boba tea, but none enough people know the origins from it. Where does this drink come from? How hard is it to produce? And why is it that some can handle, let's say, tea flavors of boba, and others absolutely hate it and despise it if it doesn't have something like an ingredient of milk per se?
I've never heard that with an ingredient of milk, but boba itself, the main thing that boba the tea itself has been around thousands of years, right? Coming from China, in the past, UK's imported it for like their English teas and all that, and basically spread all over the world, right? Boba itself is the little black pearls inside. That was, they say it was developed or invented back in Taiwan. That's also where my parents are from, although I was born here in the U.S., but my origin is from Taiwan. And from there, basically, they take tapioca balls, roll them up. There's a pretty long cooking process to get it to the right consistency and QQ or bouncy texture to it, to get it to that nice flavor where it absorbs the little bit of the drink as well as its own taste and texture to it. What else was it?
Well, growing up in the United States, how important do you think it was to still keep your identity of having your family be located in Taiwan and assimilating that into the nation?
I feel it was pretty important and pretty identifiable for myself, and the same as thing for my wife as well, being Mexican as well. So bringing her keeping her culture within our family, and me keeping my culture. It's always good that we have our roots that we identify with, and these kind of things. For example, in El Paso, obviously great, Mexican food and all that is always around. And then for me, where I grew up and bringing is hey, I want to bring some of my own, the drinks and tea culture as well.
So for my question for you is, let's say in 10 years or even 5 years, how do you see your brand expanding?
We've thought about this mainly, we're still kind of focused on El Paso mainly. If anything, well, we just opened our second store here next to Utah, so kind of the focus has been just all right, we want to keep growing in El Paso and just keep our quality up, keep the stores running smoothly, operationally. Maybe bring more in terms of new drinks or new the snacks, the onigiris that we've just brought literally last month.
Mm-hmm.
What has the process been like towards attracting customers? You alluded to it. A lot of college kids go to Fuba Tea. You guys are in the literal perfect location, being right next to UTEP. How do you attract young-minded customers who are always on social media or just craving the newest sensation?
It's a lot of social media, I think, is the main thing. A lot of the time that Ileana spends is actually figuring out, all right, what's the next kind of social media push we want to do? How do we want to film it? How do we want to do the photos and all that for everything? And then of course we have to have the kind of making of the drinks, making of the food, and being how to present that best to the audiences in social media.
Now, in a world dominated by coffee, Fuba Tea has grounded its success within milk teas. Specifically, there's a pure tea series, a fruit tea series. There is some coffee, however, with the latte series, but it's mainly options with tea. What is the main motivating factor behind Fuba Tea, which tea is literally in the name? What is the origin of those menu items, and why are they such staples in a store that has prided itself on selling tea drink options?
So tea is very versatile, actually. As you saw, we have the pure teas. The lattes are actually teas with the milk or other milk substitutes. So, for people who are lactose free or want it with soy milk, almond milk, these kind of things, oat milk, they're all available for everybody. And in addition, teas, we see that they are also be able to be mixed with fruits or other creamers. And then there's different types of teas where people add, or for example, in Thai tea, they add cinnamon, star anise to give it even more different kind of spice, herbs and spices flavors to them. So just by itself, by tea having that kind of differences, we feel that it's been really good for being able to promote and, let people try different flavors, different drinks. You get people who's all right, I want to try the next different taste on the menu and everything, just because, I know this one's really good. Well, the others got to be good too.
That's really cool. Also thinking about how there's this trend on social media right now with Boba. I think a lot of people have been really curious about it. How does it feel to have people, see online posts about Boba and or Fuba Tea and then go and show up and be I want to try this? is it exciting to see people interested in your culture in that way?
Oh yeah, of course. It's always actually really interesting. Sometimes people see something on social media. It's like, hey, can you do like this? And it's like, okay, I think I can do this. Might not be fully on the menu, but I can definitely make it for you in the way that you probably saw on social media, or like, and obviously the goal is to make it taste good.
So what I'm hearing is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Fuba Tea has a customizable menu where someone can come in with an idea and see if it can turn into a drink.
In general, yeah, like, because other things like teas tend to have their own options. Like we have the fruit teas and stuff, and we have the milk teas or lattes. Some things work well with others. Like boba tends to work really well with like the milky drinks, just because it absorbs the creaminess very well. And then, for example, for like the fruit teas, we have lychee jelly, which is a little bit like a fruit jelly, which then tastes really well with that. But then I've had people who mix them or swap them as well.
That is truly extraordinary, the amount of versatility that Fuba Tea has. Before we go into taste testing, which, by the way, Justin Chang, we are so thankful for you bringing some samples for us in the Prospector crew. I think we must know two things. First, what are some new items that we can start getting at Fuba Tea and to look out for? And second, what is your personal favorite tea to get?
So new items, we just brought in now some snacks, like, savory snacks, sweet snacks. We have cookies and we have onigiri. It's great for like, I'm after school, or like, grab a little bite to eat and a drink kind of thing, or a little snack after or before class, after class, whatever works. And then my personal favorite, I actually really like the roasted oolong latte. That's just because I grew up drinking tea. Roasted oolong is actually kind of a newer tea to me. I only got introduced to it a few years ago. But it's a tea that, in addition to like the tea making process, it goes through a roasting process, which gives it a little bit more rich and smoky flavor to it, which I really like a lot.
That's amazing. So I think we've reached time for our taste test. Fun fact, this is the second taste test that we have on this podcast. Last time we ate pizza.
Yep.
Kristian Hernandez remembers it.
Yeah, shout out Slap Sauce.
So we have Jasmine and both of the Adrians who work at the Prospector. Guys, if I could get you to come over to this table, I'd appreciate it very much. So for context, Adrian Garcia set this whole thing up for us, not only with Darrell Barry, but with Fuba Tea. So Adrian, if you want to come and introduce yourself, this is Adrian Garcia. She is our advertising coordinator at the Prospector. I'm pretty sure, what is the exact title called again?
I'm the account executive.
The account executive. So she basically handles all the ads. Adrian is the one who made this entirely possible. So I think it's just time to grab a flavor on the table and make this happy.
Yes. Which one did you want?
You know what? Pass me the brown one.
Yeah, I know you did. So that's
Please and thank you.
So the brown one is our specialty. It's called Fuba Tea. It's a special blend of black tea leaves that we import from Taiwan and brew here fresh, in-house. The teas have to be brewed at least every 4 hours to maintain their freshness and without making it keep the taste at the optimal level. And then with brown sugar and bobas.
So how complex is it to make the flavors that you brought for us today to test? How complex is that process? Because not only do we have boba teas that are made with different that are made with different ingredients, but we also have more on the fruit side that look as fresh as the orange one we have at the top of the table. Which one is that one called, and what's the process into going it? Because it looks very different when compared to this one.
So each tea has a different brewing process. For example, the black tea is we brew it at boiling temperature with hot water, and then for a certain amount of time, and then that one we call the multi-fruity oolong tea. It has apple, orange, lime, passion fruit, and a hint of lime in it. And that tea we actually have a completely different brewing process. That one is a cold brew tea, which means we steep the tea leaves at least 12 hours overnight, in cold water, and to make that tea.
Adrian and Kristian, I see you guys empty-handed. Adrian, do you have one? We have the fruit option available to us, guys.
I want to eat all of them. Can I do that?
Well, I don't think you could eat any of them. They're to drink, man.
I know, I got really nervous, but I'm really excited. I really want to drink all of them.
Well, let's do it. I think, Vivien, you've been dying for this moment. I want you to induct the ASMR taste testing.
I just have a problem. I need a straw. Yeah.
You need a straw?
Thank you so
I actually
much.
need one too.
Justin has this ready with the straws. I've got mine in
Thank you so
hand.
much. Appreciate it.
I've been so excited for
Okay,
this,
I
but
need to
now
take
I'm
out my
nervous
headphones.
that it's gonna like.
Let's see. So we have the tasting committee. Jasmine's going to join us. Welcome, Jasmine. Jasmine Gracia. She's a graduate student at the University of Texas at El Paso. That was a nice little hit on the paper, Kristian.
A direct hit, yes.
A direct hit. All right, let's do it. I think we can. These aren't meant to explode. Let's see.
Yeah, no, they
Just a smooth motion. Oh my God, okay.
It's fine.
Yeah,
It's fine. We're good.
It's fine, nothing on the outlets.
Okay, are we supposed to drink this right next to the mic?
Should we do a three, no,
Let's do a 3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cheers,
Did you
everybody.
already drink? Okay, we're good.
Cheers.
Did you already try it? Cheers, everybody.
Oh, cheers.
Cheers to you. Cheers to you. Cheers to you. Justin Chang, thank you so much. Cheers to you as well. Let's do it. 3, 2, 1.
Did you smell
It's
it?
so good, I spilled it on me.
It's so good. It's like the right amount of sweet too.
Yeah, we try to adjust everything with the different, we let people adjust the sweetness, of course. These I set all at like the middle, 50%. And then, everybody has their own taste, and we always ask them, hey, you want it like more sweet, less sweet? There's a range that you can always choose from.
Mr. Justin Chang, this is incredible. I want to keep drinking it. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Before we go, where can people find your store? What more does it have to offer? And why should college students keep showing up and buying Fuba Tea, going with the culture, not only in what you set, but at the same time, investing in your business?
So yeah, we're located on 2900 North Mesa Street, right across the street from the Don Haskins Center. Ileana has been a UTEP alumni. We love to, support the community, introduce new healthy options and drinks and little snacks like the onigiri again to everybody to try out, and to keep offering, great options, healthy options for all the people of El Paso and, all the students at UTEP, of course.
Thank you, Justin Chang. We appreciate you, and we appreciate your wife, Liana. Thank you so much for taking the time to hopping on the Prospector Podcast and for giving us our second taste test of this entire series.
You also got a little bit of the food you haven't tried yet either.
Oh, you're right. We can end off now. Kristian, do you want to christen that? Oh, he just wants to eat him himself.
I need to get up. I don't want to, yeah.
There's more?
I'm really hungry. I did not have lunch today.
You're not speaking into the mic, man.
I didn't have lunch today.
You didn't?
I know.
Oh, man.
I have not had lunch.
I have an extra sandwich in my bag if you need it. Wow.
Are spicy tuna. It's a recipe actually from my great grandma that I finally
you guys
been
go.
able to bring here and
Thank you so
introduce.
much. Okay, who has one? Who has one? Here you go. Here you go. Here you go.
Business is like infused with like personal like traditions of like meals that you grew up on, and then like just bringing like China in general to like.
Yep. Yeah. So like onigiri, is this something that like, for example, when we, when I was a kid and stuff, you prepare it in the morning, like bring it to school, it's our snack or lunch or after school snack kind of thing. And for the drinks, well, drinks typically more like teas. It's just like we drink it all the time.
This is awesome. Let's see. I will gladly take one off your hands. Thank you so much.
6.
All right.
Yeah, what's 6?
Buen provecho, everybody. We filed in spicy tuna. I haven't
Wait,
had.
do we cheers?
Dude, we gotta cheers this, man.
Okay.
We gotta
Thanks
christen
to
it.
Bren Provecho.
Buen provecho, everybody, and a cheers.
Salud.
Try your spicy tuna. Let's see.
I haven't finished unwrapping mine.
You don't know how to unwrap it? There you go. Okay.
This is a delicacy. This is incredibly good. Thank you so much, Justin.
It really is so good. I was so hungry. I was telling Sebastian before this, I'm gonna faint, but this saved me. Like this saved my life. Go eat this, people. It saved my life right now. I'm
Fuba
telling
Tea will
you.
save you from dehydration.
It will
Exactly.
save you, and this
And
from
hunger.
starvation. Yeah.
I think the biggest message is healthy alternatives for college students, especially when there's so much fast food around us. And it feels like half of us are running off Taco Bell and the other half off of McDonald's. This is completely different. It's fresh, and it gives El Pasoans a different taste of culture that they can't experience everywhere. Justin Chang, what you and your wife are able to do is admirable, and we are eternally grateful for not only Fuba Tea existing, but at the same time taking the time to address student media and to support us and to hop on our podcast.
Yeah, and thank you for having us. Always happy to, as well support you guys and all the students as much as we can as well.
Thank you so much, Justin. Go to Fuba Tea, try the spicy tuna, try the boba. I still have some in my mouth. This is going to be the most ASMR episode that there is. But that does it from us. Season 13, Episode 2 ends in our second taste test of this entire podcast's existence. Vivien, Noé, thank you so much for hopping on as co-host on the last segment. Kristian Hernandez, thank you for hanging out with me during this entire episode. Justin Chang, thank you so much for supporting us. From Fuba Tea and yourself and your family, I'm Sebastian Perez-Navarro. We'll be back soon with a little bit of a twist on our podcast. Check out to see what that entails. But for now, I'm Sebastian Perez-Navarro, and we're over and out.